Welcome 2025, where we all dream of change. We all want to be better, grow into this ideal version of ourselves that we've built up in our minds. But here's the truth that no one likes to admit: growth isn't free, it comes at a cost. It's not just about becoming more, it's about giving something up. And that's terrifying, isn't it? Letting go of habits, routines, comfort zones, even parts of yourself that feel familiar, safe. The things that we cling to the most are often the very thing that keeps us stuck. You know that feeling, standing on the edge of something bigger, something new, but frozen in place because stepping forward means leaving something behind. I've felt that fear too. It's uncomfortable and messy. But what if the only way to grow is to embrace that discomfort? What if the cost of staying the same is greater than the cost of letting go?
But it's time to almost have lunch. I have to film a reel for a company. Gonna do that. Show you guys the finished product. Lunch is served. I'm actually so proud of this. Trying out a new vegan chicken. Let's see if it's good as well. The pasta is honestly so good. Let's try this vegan chicken. Actually, not bad. Let's have lunch before our meeting, which is gonna be very soon.
Every January, there's this rush to start fresh, to set goals, and to become a whole new person overnight. It's exciting, right? There's this energy in the air, like anything is possible. And while this can be inspiring, suddenly it can also become overwhelming because it feels like you have to do it all. I've fallen into the trap way too many times. I write out this massive list of resolutions. When I was at school, it was getting A's. When I left to study abroad was to make sure I cooked every day from scratch. And one year I wanted to read a book every week. And the list would go on and on like that. And for the first few days, I'll be so motivated. I throw myself into everything, convinced I could keep it up. But by the second week of January, I'll be exhausted, frustrated, and completely over it. I couldn't keep up with my own expectations, and instead of adjusting, I would blame myself for being lazy, for not having a strong willpower. But the problem wasn't that I wasn't trying hard enough. The problem was I was trying to do too much, too fast. And this is what happens to everyone. We try to chase after perfection instead of progress. What I've come to learn is that big changes don't happen overnight. They happen in small, intentional baby steps. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing one thing and doing that well. And just because you start small, it doesn't mean that you're thinking small. It's not you giving up on your dreams or lowering your standards. It means you're starting by laying the foundation for lasting growth. It's like building a house. You don't start with the roof, you start from the bottom up. And in order for the roof to be supported, you cannot rush to the first step, or the whole thing will fall apart. So as the year came to an end, I started to think about the goals I wanted to accomplish and the things that were going to get me closer to my dreams. As always, I had a long list, but I took a step back and really reflected. I took a deep breath and told myself that I didn't have to do it all from the start. So ask yourself, what is one thing you can focus on right now? Not 5, not 10, just one. Maybe it's trying to cook more for yourself. Maybe it's journaling for 10 minutes before bed. Or maybe it's just going for a 15-minute walk every day. Whatever that is, just start there. The thing about starting small is that it builds momentum. That one change you take inspires confidence, and that confidence motivates you to tackle the next big thing. And before you know it, those small baby steps add up to something much bigger. I would have never imagined what would happen when I published my first video. I thought I had to have everything figured out before starting a YouTube channel. So for years, I didn't even start. But once I went over that barrier and just decided to do something and publish my first video, I fell in love with editing and the whole process. I would have never imagined that I could be where I am right now, where I've created this amazing community And this year, my wish is to expand it, to grow it, and to be there for you guys. I might be small, but the reason why I keep doing what I do is because I love it. And connecting with you guys always makes my day. And when you tell me that my videos help you in some sort of way, it truly brings joy into my life. Your support really means so much to me, and I have no words to say how grateful I am. Thing like this would never have happened if I didn't just start. But it was very hard to start, and I've come to realize that one of the biggest reasons we struggle to start or to stick to our goals is the idea that we have to get it perfect. We think if I can do it right, why even bother? But that's a mindset that keeps us stuck. Perfectionism is sneaky. It disguises itself as high standards, as discipline, as ambition. But at its core, perfectionism is fear. It's the fear of failing, the fear of not being enough, fear of what other people might think. And instead of facing that fear, we use perfectionism as an excuse not to start. And I can't tell you how many times I've fallen into this trap. When I started my YouTube channel, I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted the lighting, the editing, the script, all of it to be flawless. And because of that, I spent years procrastinating. I'll start filming videos and never finish them because I convinced myself they weren't good enough. But perfect doesn't exist. It's just a concept we create to avoid the vulnerability of showing up as we are. And the truth is, done is better than perfect. Every time I've let go of the need to get it right, I've made more progress than I ever thought possible. When a baby learns to walk, do they wait until they can do it perfectly? Of course not. They stumble, they fall, they wobble, but they keep trying. And that's how we learn anything, by starting imperfectly, improving along the way. There is no such thing as a perfect time or the perfect plan. There's just now. The more you show up, the more you grow. Let's be honest, the start is always the hardest part because at first it feels like nothing is happening. You set your intention, you're putting in the effort, but when you look for results, it feels like you're stuck in the same place. And that's frustrating, isn't it? This is something I've struggled with so many times in 2024. Especially with my personal fitness goals. There were moments where I'd be consistent, and yet, when I look or change, I didn't see anything that I was hoping for. It was like all the effort was for nothing, but just because you can't see the progress, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Growth is slow, it's quiet, it's like planting a seed. Under the surface, that seed is growing roots and preparing to break through the soil. Going to see Daddy. This is exactly how progress works. The small consistent actions you take, whether it's showing up at the gym, writing a few sentences each day, or making time to rest, those are laying the groundwork for something big. Just because you can see the results, it doesn't mean they're not coming. We often forget to look back and see how far we've come. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're wondering why all your effort isn't paying off yet, I want you to keep going and keep this in mind in 2025. Trust that the work you're doing matters, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Because the only way you're gonna feel at your goals is if you stop trying. So no matter how small your wins are, celebrate. Instead of waiting for the big result, acknowledge the little moments of progress along the way. Did you get out of bed when you didn't feel like it? That's a win. Did you spend 5 minutes working on a goal? Win again. Did you show up for yourself today, even in the smallest way? That is also a win. So progress doesn't have to be loud or visible to matter. And even sometimes others can see it before we do. And even if you don't see it, this is just a reminder that sometimes the quietest progress is the most powerful. When we set our goals, we often think of the sacrifices of that growth, like letting go of comfort or perfectionism. But we rarely think about the cost of holding on. What happens when we cling to old habits, old beliefs, or old versions of ourselves that no longer serves us? And that's one of the hardest truths to face, that staying the same comes also at a price. When you hold on to what feels safe, you're not just avoiding risk, you're avoiding growth. And over time, that comfort starts to weigh you down. And at the end of 2024, I realized this, that there were some routines during the past few years that I've fallen into that felt harmless at first, like scrolling through social media late at night, saying yes to things I didn't really want to do, putting off tasks because I told myself I'll have more energy later. And all of this left me feeling drained, unmotivated, and stuck. And holding onto those habits was actively keeping me from moving forward. Every time I said yes to something that didn't align with my goals, I was saying no to something that did. Every time I stayed in my comfort zone, I was missing an opportunity to thrive. The cost of holding on is that it keeps you from becoming the person you're meant to be. Letting go is extremely hard and it's messy, but also liberating. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you create space for something better. So, what are you holding on to that you need to release? Maybe it's an old routine that's not serving you anymore. Maybe it's a fear or limiting belief that's keeping you stuck. Or maybe it's a version of yourself that feels familiar but no longer fits who you want to be. The thing is that for all of us, there's a story we all carry about ourselves. It's a narrative we've built over the years, shaped by our experiences, our fears, our successes, and our failures. And whether we realize it or not, that story influences everything we do. For a long time, my story was I'm not enough. Not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not talented enough. And I carried that story with me into everything I tried to do. When I failed, it felt like proof of that story. When I succeeded, it felt like a fluke, a stroke of luck. And that narrative became a self-fulfilling prophecy, pulling me back from even trying sometimes. But stories like this are not facts. They're not set in stone. They're interpretations. And the amazing thing is, we get to rewrite them. This is something I worked a lot in 2024. And I'll be honest, it's not easy. Changing the way you speak to yourself and the way you think about yourself takes time, it takes awareness, it takes courage. But it's also one of the most transformative things you can do. And that's why this year I want to rebrand my life. 2024 for me has been the year I started realizing and becoming aware of those beliefs that weren't serving me. 2025 is the year I'm choosing to thrive as me. Instead of saying I can't do this, it's the year I say I've found hard things before, so I can do this too. We are the author of our story. Every small action you take is another sentence, another chapter. So this year, focus on writing something worth reading. New Year's are always so uncertain. Feels like standing at the edge of a bridge. Behind you is everything you've been, the habits, the struggles, the win, the losses. And ahead of you is something you can't quite yet see. It's blurry, undefined, and scary. This moment is where you have a choice to either stay where it's safe or take a step forward into the unknown. The unknown has always scared me, but it's the only place where growth happens. Staying where it's comfortable might feel safe, but it also doesn't allow for you to transform and evolve because it lives on the other side of that bridge, in the place where you don't have all the answers. Think about the way the holidays feel. They're full of traditions, of familiar comforts, of things that ground you. But they're also a time of reflection, a chance to pause and dream about what's next. And as I sat together, surrounded by the people I love the most, I realized something. The unknown isn't just a blank space. It's a space full of possibility. It's a gift. Letting go doesn't mean losing yourself. It means realizing the parts of you that no longer align with who you're becoming. It's about trusting that what's ahead is worth the leap. The unknown is a chance to rewrite your story, to explore who you are without the weight of who you've been. The unknown isn't empty. It's where everything you're capable of lives. It's where your potential grows, where your dreams start to take shape, where you discover what's possible when you stop holding yourself back. So step into 2025 with courage and hope that you're capable of so much more than you think. And the journey won't be easy, but it will always be worth it. So make 2025 the year you finally show up for yourself.
I'm spoiled. I don't even know what to say. Why I wanted to come home this Christmas was just to be with my family. Like, I wasn't expecting any gift. I'm just grateful for the family I have. And I hope you guys also had a Christmas surrounded by people that you love and that bring joy into your life. I just wish you all a happy new year. Look at 2025 not as a new place to start, but look at it as an opportunity to grow again, to discover more of who you are and who you want to be. If you ever feel alone, don't be, because I'm here rooting for you. And whatever goal you have in mind, you can make it happen. It might feel impossible at first. Anything you dream of, you're capable of achieving. Thank you guys really for sticking around with me in this journey and always being so supportive. Thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. We're a small community, but we're a mighty one, and I'm proud of the little place we've built for each other. A place where we can all be us. Let's see what 2025 has in store for us. Sending you lots of love.